on the program. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking out the time. Professor Nalapat, sir, I'll begin with you. I want you to set the tone for what's about to happen in a few hours. Like I said in my opening monologue, sir, will India continue to hold its own? Something that we have done, something that we have become proficient in, and something that the world has acknowledged us for, that our diplomacy, could be friendly, yet it is independent. But Donald Trump has something else on the agenda. He's also, in fact, announced very, very recently that he's, in fact, going to be focusing on reciprocal tariffs, which are committed to make America great again. And of course, this is a trade war with a number of nations. Will India also be, caught up in these tentacles?
Look, Vineet, the fact is that the President of the United States has got a basket of issues that he has to tackle. He has to tackle the Ukraine issue. He has to tackle the issue of the U.S. economy, and he has to tackle other matters which relate to the functioning of the White House and the presidency. And he's got a very strong test in 2026, because if he does badly in the intervening 1.5 years, then the Republicans are likely to lose control of both the Senate and the House. So that means he's going to be left with a lame duck administration for the final 2 years of his term. Now, the fact is, India under Prime Minister Modi can be of immense help in many ways. For example, the global south. For example, when we are talking in terms of the Ukraine conflict, because of his good relations with President Putin, there are many ways in which India can be helpful. And I think both Tulsi Gabbard as well as J.D. Vance, both of them are they have both met Prime Minister Modi and would have, to some extent, understood his mind and gauged his thinking, and they briefed President Trump on that. So my point is, will President Trump take a very narrow view, tariff, or will he take a broader view and look at the whole gamut of issues that India is essential to, including the security of the Indo-Pacific, including security against terrorism and other matters, including, for example, ensuring the global south does not become a Chinese village, or the South China Sea does not anymore remain a Chinese lake, which is what unfortunately has become over the past 15 odd years. So I think if he looks at it from that angle, there are many issues on which he can rely on the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is very clear about many matters. For example, defense. I see immigration, of course, is not a problem. So long as they're Indian citizens, the government of India is ready to accept them. And that has been made very, very clear by no less a person than External Affairs Minister Jaishankar himself. As far as defense is concerned, if the United States defense companies were to situate some platforms in India, then they would be cost competitive. And very importantly, Vineet, we would like to have certain protocols in place, certain protocols to be signed, which will enable us to ensure access to the best in US technology, including in defense. The Russians are going all out to offer us the top-class technology, the Su-57. It's a 5th-generation aircraft. The Americans have tepidly offered us a 4.5th generation aircraft. The reality of the situation is, if we are in a position where we can argue for a 5th generation aircraft for the Navy, etc., and also for a full-fledged security relationship so that the Indo-Pacific is protected. So I think if Trump gets the big picture, he is going to be quite accommodative and reasonable. He accommodates Prime Minister Modi in some ways. He accommodates President Trump in other ways. That is the art of the deal. It's never one-sided. A one-sided deal is no deal at all. It's bound to have a very short life. So I think the question is wide angle or very narrow angle. And I would look at the next few meetings, I would say, to judge that. But if he looks at it from a wide angle, then certainly There's a lot on offer. And so far as defense is concerned, I don't think there's any problem in American defense companies situating in India and producing here as well. You can't just make everything in the United States, because then you're going to price it at a level that nobody is going to be able to afford it. Least of all the US government, which is facing $38 trillion in debt. $38 trillion. And there are 18 ways in which one can describe the United States as almost bankrupt. So the question is, well, in what way President Trump will view this extremely important meeting with the most important partner he has in a range of issues, including peace and security. Thank you, Vidhi.
Absolutely.